Let me tell you something that almost nobody notices. But once you truly internalize it, it has the power to completely change the way you see money. Most people aren't broke because they earn too little. People stay broke because their financial life follows an invisible logic, quiet, automatic, and perfectly designed to keep them stuck in the exact same place. There is a silent mechanism that pushes millions of people into a life of stress, frustration, and constant financial pressure. And the most surprising part is that this mechanism has nothing to do with how much money you make. It has everything to do with what happens the moment that money touches your hands. It doesn't matter if you earn $2,000, $5,000, or even $10,000 a month. If you follow the traditional pattern, the pattern most people follow without even realizing it, you will always feel like you're chasing the next paycheck as if it were a small moment of freedom. But a few days later, that feeling disappears, and the same suffocating pressure returns. And you start wondering why it feels like the harder you work, the more impossible it becomes to get ahead. The truth is painful, but it's incredibly important. Financial problems rarely come from big decisions. They come from tiny daily choices, micro decisions that stack up silently. A quick purchase here, a small comfort there, a snack, a subscription, a little impulse. One tiny leak at a time. And when those leaks become habits, they turn into a lifestyle without you ever noticing. It's like trying to fill a bucket that has holes drilled into the bottom. It doesn't matter how much you pour in, the water always finds a way out. But there is something most people never hear about. A simple, practical, almost obvious method that can completely reshape your financial life in a matter of months, even if you're starting from zero, even if you feel stuck, even if your income is low. This rule doesn't rely on financial tricks or complicated spreadsheets or becoming an investment expert. It relies on one thing: intention. And intention is incredibly powerful when it comes to money. Because once you decide what your money will do before it even arrives, your entire life starts to shift. Imagine something with me. Imagine that every dollar you earn already had a destination, a mission, a purpose, before it ever hit your bank account. Imagine that part of it automatically went to growing your wealth. Part of it went to protecting your life from emergencies. Part kept your essentials running, and part was reserved for pleasure without guilt. Now imagine the opposite. Your money comes in, disappears, and by the end of the month, you say the sentence almost every American has said at least once: "I honestly don't know where my money went." If that sentence has ever crossed your mind, even one time, then you're about to understand precisely why. And more importantly, how to fix it. Here's the truth. You need to decide the destination of your money before it arrives, not after. Not when there's some left. Not once things calm down. Not when I finally organize my life. Because that moment never comes. The money that isn't assigned on purpose will flow into the cracks of your life automatically. And once it's gone, it's gone. What I'm about to explain to you isn't complex. It doesn't require math. It doesn't require a financial background. It doesn't require hours tracking every cent. It's simple, ridiculously simple. And yet, it's so rarely implemented that it almost feels like a secret. Every person who wants to escape financial struggle needs at least one portion of their income dedicated exclusively to growth. And growth doesn't mean buying something bigger or nicer or fancier. Growth means taking a small percentage of your money and using it to build something that multiplies over time. Something you own. Something that produces. Something that grows on its own. Here is where most people get trapped forever. They believe they will invest when something is left at the end of the month. But nothing is ever left at the end of the month. Not because you're irresponsible, not because you're weak, but because the human brain automatically expands spending to match whatever number it sees available. If you wait for money to remain, you will wait for the rest of your life. The only solution is to reverse the order. You separate your growth money first, then you live on what is left, not the other way around. And once you understand that, something inside you shifts, because you realize something powerful. The people who build wealth are not the people who earn the most. They are the people who control their money instead of letting their money control them. Now I need to tell you something uncomfortable. As long as you don't assign part of your money to work for you, you will spend the rest of your life working for your money. And that is a prison. A quiet, invisible, perfectly designed prison. And month after month, year after year, you walk in and out of it without ever realizing that the door has been unlocked the entire time. And the key is simple. You must use part of your money to buy your future freedom. Not to get rich overnight, not to chase some fantasy lifestyle, but to build something that slowly but surely stops depending on your physical effort. Something that belongs to you, something no one can take away. Imagine this. You start small, consistently, month after month. At first it feels like nothing is happening. Then, slowly, something inside you stabilizes. You notice that for the first time in your life, you have a little cushion, a little breathing room. Then months pass, and you realize your entire relationship with money is shifting. And one day, without even noticing when it happened, you feel something you've never felt before. Control. But growth alone is not enough. You cannot build wealth if your life collapses every time the unexpected happens. Which is why the second part of this logic is stability. Most people don't have a money problem. They have an unpredictability problem. One broken car, one unexpected medical bill, one appliance that dies. Just one. And instantly everything falls apart. And when you have no stability, every small emergency turns into a crisis. And every crisis turns into debt. Debt turns into interest. Interest eats your income. Your income shrinks. You struggle more. Another emergency appears. And the cycle repeats. And repeat. And repeats. Until you feel like you're constantly trying to catch up to a life that is always one step ahead of you. You've felt that, haven't you? That sensation of living in financial recovery mode. Always trying to fix the damage of the previous month? That doesn't happen because you're bad with money. It happens because you're unprotected. And protection is easy to build if you use a small part of your money intentionally, consistently, and automatically. Once you build a minimum safety buffer, a financial shock absorber, you no longer panic when life surprises you. You can breathe, you can handle, you can move on. That's emotional freedom. But after growth and stability come the essentials, the part of your income that keeps your life functioning. Here lies one of the biggest illusions in modern American culture. People think everything is essential. They think they need the expensive car, the larger apartment, the new clothes, the constant restaurant meals, the streaming services they barely use. And because of that, people believe the problem is the salary, when the real problem is the lifestyle. You've probably noticed this pattern. The more people earn, the more they spend. It's not income that grows, it's ego. And suddenly, the life they build to impress others becomes the main reason they stay stuck. But there's a simple shift that separates people who build wealth from those who will always depend on the next month. You must limit your essential spending. You must decide that your functional life costs less than your desired life. And once you do that, you create space. Space to breathe. Space to grow. Space to reclaim control. And then finally comes the most controversial part. The part that makes this method sustainable long-term. You must reserve a portion of your money for pleasure. Yes, pleasure. That small category is what keeps you from exploding after months of discipline. If you remove all joy, you will eventually break down and overspend. Your mind will rebel, and that rebound destroys everything you built. Humans aren't machines. We need relief, we need reward, we need permission to enjoy. When you set aside guilt-free money for something that makes you happy, even if it's small, you create a system that works not only mathematically, but emotionally. And emotional sustainability is the true foundation of long-term financial success. Now look at the full structure. One part for growth, one part for protection, one part for essentials, one part for enjoyment. It's so simple that most people dismiss it, but its simplicity is what makes it powerful. When money is divided automatically, before emotions enter the conversation, everything changes. You eliminate sabotage, you eliminate impulse, you eliminate chaos. What remains is order. And order creates stability. Stability creates clarity. Clarity creates growth. Growth creates freedom. That is the entire loop. And here's the deepest reason this rule works. It returns control to your hands. When you know exactly where your money goes, you stop reacting to life and begin directing it. You stop surviving and start building. You stop hoping and start choosing. And once you feel even a small taste of that control, everything changes. Because once you believe you can shift your financial life, you do the things that create that shift. And when you take action, the results always follow. Maybe right now you feel like you can't start, or like it's too late, or too little, or pointless. But let me say something gently, and I hope you let this sink in. There is no later in personal finance. There is now, and there is never. The decision you delay is the exact decision that keeps you stuck. And the money you don't organize is the money that disappears. If you want to change your financial life, start small. Start with $10. Start with 20. Start with whatever you can. The habit matters more than the number. The consistency matters more than the amount. And the action matters more than the idea. Because people who win with money are not the ones who know the most. They are the ones who do the most consistently. In the end, everything comes down to a single sentence. The person who decides the destination of their money wins. The person who lets their money decide for them loses. And now you need to choose which side you want to be on. If you made it all the way here, comment freedom so I know who is truly committed to changing their life for real. And of course, hit the like button so YouTube shows this to more people who need it. And subscribe because this is just the beginning. I'll see you in the next one.